Hello, DigiFam. It is me, Prodigious, and I'm here with a deck profile that I've been playing with for quite a few days now, trying to get down just right. There's still a couple of cards and combinations that I have not tried, but let's go ahead and get into it. This is going to be my hot take on the new EX6 RagnaLoardmon. Alright, so for starters, I am running the Kakimon egg, pardon, which has the inheritable of start of your main phase by returning one card with the Legend Arms traits from this Digimon's Digivolution cards to the hand, gain one memory. This works amazingly well, so that way you can recycle your levels in your cards because a lot of your new RagnaLoardmon pieces all have effects that you can play from the hand for 1, 2, or even 3 memory to give you certain effects, on top of also becoming a source underneath another Digimon. So this will allow you to bring them back and recycle them. Alright, now on to the rookies. I'm running 3 copies of Zubamon from EX6. Can Digivolve from either of the 2 different eggs for 0, and of course it can Evo from any level 2 for 0. Its hard on-play cost is 4 though, so you are strictly looking to only Evo with this card, or hard play it in those rare occasions of where you have to / want to try and memory choke your opponent. Its effect in the hand says by paying 1 cost and placing this card at the bottom dilution card of one of your Digimon that is level 3 or has Legend Arms traits, that Digimon gets plus 4,000 DP. You combine that with the inheritable that will activate once you have done that, you also get an additional plus 2,000. So that is 6,000 DP on your turn. After that effect is worn off, it's just going to have the natural inheritable effect. But, like I said, you can use the egg, bounce it back, and reuse it. It also has the effect that says your turn once per turn. When an effect places a Digivolution card under this Digimon, draw 1 card. So on the rare occasion you actually do have this rookie out, and you actually do play one of your miscellaneous effects to put something underneath him, you get to draw a card. Then we're playing 3 copies of his brother-in-arms, Ludomon. Similar thing, forward to hard play, Evos from any black egg for free. You can also Evo for free from either of the 2 Legend Armed eggs. And same effect, but different. By paying 1 cost, placing this card as a bottom Digivolution card of one of your Digimon that's level 3 or has Legend Arms traits, that Digimon gets plus 2,000 DP until the end of your opponent's turn. Its inheritable is opponent's turn, this Digimon has plus 2,000. So basically, with the sword, as I'm going to call it for this video, you can go ahead and use an effect, get plus 4,000, plus an inheritable that can give you plus 2,000, but only during your turn. The Ludomon, or shield line here, will give you only plus 2,000, but it lasts until the end of your opponent's turn. So please beware of that. If you're looking to try and give yourself a boost, and you want that boost to last until your opponent's turn ends, like say you're afraid of something that might go based off of DP dilution, or if you just need something that will last until their turn, like for your defenses and such, this is the card to do it. In fact, I find myself mainly leaning towards more of a black base with this deck, as you'll soon see. And then it has the same effect of your turn once per turn. When an effect places a Digivolution card under it, you draw a card. Pardon me. So next, I'm also running 3 copies of the BT3 Ludomon. Now the reason why is, again, I'm leaning towards a more of a black base, because the rookie slots seemed pretty tight based off of my testing, and 12 rookies seem to be the sweet spot. We're also running the black egg, and as you can already see here soon, a lot of our rookies do cost quite a bit to hard play, so we need something else that we can actually just straight up Evo on top of in those rare occasions that we need to. But not to worry, because our egg will bring this back to our hand later, so we can play it. But when you do hard play it, you reveal the top 5 cards of your deck. You add 1 RagnaLoard card and 1 Digimon card with Legend Arms type to your hand. Put the rest at the bottom of your deck in any order. No inheritable. So this is going to help us dig at least 5 cards deep to try and find our pieces that we need at the time. And then last, for our rookies, I'm running the new Spiderman from EX6. It can hard play for 3, but it also has an optional Evo cost onto an egg of black or red for a cost of 1. It does Digivolve from the 2 Legend Arm eggs for 0 though, so when playing this, under the right circumstances, you can choose to go ahead and make the Evo cost be free, which is the norm. Or if you're just needing to just choke your opponent for the turn, make it cost 1. Its hand main effect is by paying 1 cost and placing this card as the bottom Digivolution card of one of your Digimon that's level 3 or has Legend Arm trait, you draw a card. So not too bad. You could use this in combination with the other 2 EX6 rookies and essentially get to actually draw 2 cards, 1 from this and then 1 from the other one's effects. But it's mainly looked at for its on-play effect of by trashing 1 card with Legend Arms traits in your hand, you draw 2 cards. So this is, again, going to help us dig to get the pieces we need. It also has a somewhat useful inheritable of when attacking, once per turn, delete one of your opponent's Digimon with 3000 DP or less. And that does it for our rookies. Now, on to the champions. I'm, of course, running 4 copies of the new EX6 Zuba Eagermon. It can Digivolve from any level 3 for a cost of 2 that has Legend Arms traits, or just from any red for 2. Hand main effect. By paying 1 cost and placing this card at the bottom Digivolution card of one of your Digimon that's level 4 or has Legend Arms traits, that Digimon gets plus 4000 DP for the turn. Much like I've already mentioned before, that the sword does one thing, the shield does another, at least until they reach their level 5s and 6s. Your turn, once per turn. When an effect places a Digivolution card under this Digimon, it gains Raid and Piercing. So if you're in a tight spot and you want to be able to swing into your opponent, possibly do some field control while still getting some security checks, and you had the memory and the cards to do it, just tuck some stuff underneath this guy, boost him up, and then you're good to go. Now, he also does have the inheritable, like I mentioned, of your turn, this Digimon gets plus 2000 DP. Now, next we're going to look at the opposite end, the shield level 4 from EX6. Similar thing, we're looking at 2 costs from any level 3 black, or 2 costs from anything level 3 as Legend Arms traits. Similar, like I said, the shield will offer you the ability to pay 1 cost, put underneath one of your level 4 or lower Digimon or Legend Arms traits. It gets plus 2000 DP until the end of your opponent's turn. It has the Your Turn effect of once per turn. When an effect places a Digivolution card under this Digimon, it gains blocker and reboot until the end of your opponent's turn. Then inheritable, opponent's turn, this Digimon gets plus 2000 DP. Now, I have played a couple different other combinations to finish out the champion lineup, because only having 8 champions is not going to work. It's very, very risque, as it were, and very glass cannon-like. And this deck is already kind of a glass cannon. So I have settled, like I said, to go more in a black-based type of build. To go with the starter deck 13, Tai Ludamon at 2, to finish out my champions. It has on play by placing this Digimon at the bottom of one of your other Digimon with Legend Arms traits. or one of your other red Digimon's Digivolution sources, one of your Digimon gets reboot until the end of your opponent's turn. Inheritable is opponent's turn. When you have a Digimon with Legend Arms traits or a red Digimon, this Digimon gains blocker. And it has the interesting effect of being able to Digivolve from either a black or red level 3. So this is basically just to go ahead and give you another champion that you can Digivolve on top of your rookies. That way the following turn you push out, you play the effect on your egg, you bounce back whatever rookie you had, and then you're able to keep climbing. And here, after I get done going over the deck profile, I will go over some honorable mentions of things that you can try. Some of these I have tried, some of them I have not. But moving on to the ultimates, we have Digimon, the sword. Now he can evo from any level 3, or level 4, pardon me, for a cost of 3, or any Legend Arms trait for a cost of 3. His effect is hand by paying 2 cost and placing this card at the bottom of one of your Digimon that's level 5 or has Legends traits. That Digimon gets security attack +1 for the turn. It also has the effect of your turn once per turn. When an effect places a Digivolution card under this Digimon, it gains Raid and Piercing. And then last, the inheritable is when this Digimon attacks, target is switched, trash the top card of your opponent's security stack. So, needless to say, this is the more aggro one you want to go into. I might have a black base of sorts for this deck, but I prefer to go into this guy if I can help it when I'm trying to be aggro before I've hit my real good pieces. But as you can see, that effect is also really good in case you just have to have him in hand and you need a little extra oomph in your security attack. Now, the other big piece to this deck is RagnaLoard. Evos from a black level 3 or level 4 for 3, and Legend Arms traits for 3. Hand by paying 2 and placing this card at the bottom Digivolution card of one of your level 5 or has Legend Arms traits Digimon until the end of your opponent's turn. One of their Digimon gains start of the main phase. This Digimon attacks. Now, some people haven't even been splashing this into some other decks that use and abuse the new Ace Digimon level 6s and so on to force the opponent to swing, and then they can blast Ace into what they need to. And that is no different here. We use this to get them to go ahead and swing, so that way we can blast Ace, or we can just activate one of our blockers and kill whatever we want to kill. He also has your turn once per turn. When an effect places a Digivolution card under this, it gains blocker and reboot. Inheritable. When this Digimon would be deleted other than by one of your effects, by trashing one card with the Legend Arms traits in this Digimon's Digivolution cards, prevent that deletion. So this thing is not only good for helping you to pick off bodies and to trigger your Blast Ace into Ragna, but it also has some protection to keep you on board. That is only once per turn, though. But if you happen to get more than one of these guys underneath your stack, along with anything else you can shove underneath there, you are sticking around. Alright, now on to our megas. Here we have the sword himself, Digimon from EX6. It can evo from a level 5 for a cost of 4, or a cost of 4 from anything Legend Arms. The hand effect is by paying 3 cost and placing this card at the bottom Digivolution card of one of your level 6 or has Legend Arms traits Digimon. Delete one of your opponent's Digimon with as much or less DP as that Digimon. It also has Raid and Piercing built in. Along with, when Digivolving, one of your Digimon may attack. So as long as you can time it right, and of course you're not suspended or under any effects that says you can't suspend or attack per se. But anyway, yeah, you can just go ahead and just evo this, even if you pass turn, and you get pseudo blitz. Now the inheritable is piercing, and your turn, while this Digimon is RagnaLoardmon, the security effects on cards checked by this Digimon don't activate. Now that is really important to take note that that's different compared to some other cards that sound similar, because that is saying basically all security effects. That means if it's a security Digimon that would normally pop out after the battle, nope. Option card, nope. Tamer, nope. So all those are just dust in the wind. And then next, I'm running 4 copies of RagnaLoard. Now, similar thing, can evo for 4 from any black level 5 or any Legend Arms trait Digimon. Its hand effect on it is by paying 3 cost and placing this card at the bottom Digivolution card of one of your level 6 or has Legend Arm trait Digimon. You de-Digivolve 1 all of your opponent's Digimon with as much or less DP than that Digimon. So the sword can delete, the shield de-Digivolves. He has blocker and reboot built in. And then when Digivolving, one of your Digimon isn't affected by your opponent's Digimon effects until the end of your opponent's turn. So for one whole turn, this guy or anyone you choose to activate it on is protected against your opponent's Digimon's effects. Inheritable, blocker. Opponent's turn. While this Digimon is RagnaLoardmon, it can't leave the battle area other than by your effects or deletion. But as we already went over on our level 5s, we also have a level 5 that says if we were to be deleted, we can strip sources. Now on to the main event. We are running 3 copies of RagnaLoardmon Ace. Some other decks might actually run this at more or less. But for me, I found a sweet spot for my ratios to be at running a grand total of 4 of these level 7s. And I'm running 3 of the RagnaLoardmon Ace at the moment. I might very well change it to be 2 and 2. But I'm running 2 of the Ace and 2 of the original one, or 1 of the original one for now anyway. But let's go over the Ace. So, you can hard play him for 9 and still get him on the board and activate some effects. You can also just evo from any black or red level 5, or level 6, pardon me, for a cost of 5. But the main point is you want to DNA, Digivolve this guy from a 6 red and a 6 black. More specifically, you want to hand counterblast him. And to do that, you actually have to have rather Durandamon or Bryludamon on the field, and then the opposite one in your hand. When your opponent swings, and the timing allows it, you can go ahead and slide the other half that is not on the field on the stack, and then evo into this for free. It has Raid and Reboot. On play, when Digivolving, trash the top card of your opponent's security stack. And this Digimon isn't affected by your opponent's effects until the end of your opponent's turn. And that's just from straight up playing him or Digivolving. Then, if DNA Digivolving, you get to de-Digivolve 1 all of your opponent's Digimon and delete 1 of their Digimon. Now, yes, he does have the hefty overflow cost of 5, but for something that you can just hard play or try and cheeky out with that hand counterblast DNA that can just straight up trash a security and isn't affected by your opponent's effects for one whole turn, I'd say it's worth it. Now we are running just one, and as I've mentioned, I have tried running 2 and 2, and I might go back to it, of the original RagnaLoard mon from BT3. He costs 14 to hard play, 3 to Evo from black or red, security attack +1, and reboot. But what makes him a kicker to still run this deck to this day with this new support is he says when Digivolve, by adding 1 Duranda or 1 Braludramon from your hand to the top of this Digimon's Digivolution sources, you gain 3. So if you're evolving on top of either or, and you happen to have another one or the opposite one in hand, because it's not saying you have to actually evo from one and then put the other in, so you can slide either one underneath it, you basically get the evo into this level 7 for free. So that will give you at least a slightly bigger body, security attack, and reboot. And of course, if you happen to give him the necessary other good inheritables, he can be just as good, but not as amazing, as the ace. Now, what makes my deck a little different is I'm actually running not 1, but 2 different tamers in this deck. I have seen people try to run the Tai Kamiya from the starter deck, and I agree. It's a great card. You have to have a memory setter for this deck. You have to. In my initial testing, I was running this at 3, and I might very well could change it back and put it at 3. But for now, I'm doing a split of 2 and 2, which seems to work out pretty well, and I'll get into the basics on why. But we're running 2 of this Tai Kamiya. Set your memory to 3 at the start of your turn, if it's not already past it. When an attack target is switched by suspending this tamer, you draw 1, and one of your Digimon gets plus 2000 DP. It costs 4 to hard play. But the other one I'm running in this deck, as you can see though, with all these effects you can play by hand, this deck is hungry for some memory. And also one of the weaknesses of this deck that I have learned, especially with the format that we have nowadays, is decks tend to rather go ahead and go with one big dude, or they go wide. And this deck definitely struggles with the go wide variety. So with that being said, I am running 2 copies of the Izzy, Azumi, and Jokido from BT6. Start of your turn. If your opponent has 2 or more Digimon in play, gain 2. Simple as that. Opponent's turn. When one of your black Digimon is deleted, you may suspend this tamer to trigger draw 1. So far it has worked out pretty well, and I like it. And then last but not least, we are running 4 copies of what I believe is definitely the mandatory option card, Inheritance of the Legendary Sword and Shield. This is an amazing option card. For starters, it costs 3. While you have a Digimon with Legend Arms traits, you may ignore this card's color requirements. I wish we had that line of text on the option card we got out of the starter deck for before. Main. You may place 1 Digimon card with the Legend Arms traits from your trash as one of your Digimon's bottom Digivolution card, then place this card in the battle area. All turns, when one of your Digimon would leave the battle area, other than by one of your effects, activate the delay effect. And that delay effect is you may play 1 card with the Legend Arms traits from that Digimon's Digivolution cards without paying the cost. So there is some combos that people say they try and use, or where they try to use Spotamon to pitch their level 5s or their 6s. Heck, even in some cases, the ace, and then the following turn, or as soon as possible anyway, play the option card, tuck rather the ace, or your level 6s underneath the Spada, and then just swing in or block, whatever. It dies. Now all of a sudden you have a big body out. And in the case of RagnaLoardmon Ace, that body happens to be Raid, Reboot, instantly trashes the security and isn't affected by your opponent's effects for a turn. So yes, this is a mandatory run 4 of. You might get away at 3, but honestly, no, just run 4. You're going to be needing it because this deck is already hurting on the fact that there's so much stuff that this deck needs to have. Like, it has to have the RagnaLoard Mons at a count of 4 or more. You have to have the level 6s at a count of 4 each, if not more. You would love to probably have some more rookies and ultimates and champions. No, this is going to be the only way that you can help mitigate that to some degree. Security effect is to activate the main effect. So even if this comes out of security, it's doing the same thing. So yes, that is a must. But this has been what I have come down to my conclusions on running. I could still tweak it, and like I said, there's a couple of cards I have yet to try. Speaking of, so another thing you could try is you could try swapping things around and going more on a red base and use the red egg that we get from EX6. Its effect is when an effect places a Digivolution card with Legend Arms traits under this Digimon, gain 1 memory. So you're not going to get the recursion back like you do the black egg, but you are going to make the cost a lot cheaper. Like a lot of your rookies and champions that only cost 1 to tuck now essentially become free. A lot of your champions, or not champions, but your ultimates that cost 2, they now only cost 1 to get their effect off. But again, you're not going to be able to get the recursion you need. So be leery of that. Now, another thing you could do is you could go ahead and change up a couple of your rookies. You could always splash in a couple of cards of the Ludamon from the starter deck. Essentially, it's an on-play by placing this underneath something that is Legend Arms or a red Digimon at the bottom. You get to reveal the top card of your deck, and if it's a Digimon card with Legend Arms in its traits, you can, with a play cost of 7 or less, you may play it. Otherwise, you add that card to your hand. So, I mean, you could go that route. Inheritable is opponent's turn. If you have a Digimon with Legend Arms traits or a red Digimon in play, this Digimon gains blocker. So, much like how I did with my champions, you could use this instead in the rookie slot. I haven't tried it yet, but you could. Another card I thought about just recently and have not tried yet. I might try it out and maybe mix up some ratios again on the rookie count. But you could try running 1, maybe 2 copies, not a lot, of the Spotamon from BT10. And the reason why is, first of all, this is a hard play cost for 4 and evos from either an egg of black or red for a cost of 1. So it is asking quite a lot. But on play, by placing this Digimon under one of your Digimon with Legend Arms traits or Cross Heart traits at the bottom Digivolution card, you get to de-Digivolve 1. So you think of this more as an option card that you're playing versus it being a Digimon. Like mid to late game, you go ahead and hard play this, it tucks, you de-Digivolve something. So there you go, you managed to de-Digivolve something. At least you got something out of that 4 pay cost, right? Maybe not. Okay, so now, the Inheritable. When attacking, once per turn, reveal the top 3 cards of your deck. Add 1 card with Legend Arms or Cross Hearts and its traits among them to your hand, and place the rest at the bottom of your deck in any order. I recently just thought about this, and like I said, you could try this because this can help you dig. But like I said, it is on the leery side, so try at your own pace and see what you all think. If you will try it, let me know in the comments. Now, as you have seen, I'm going with more of the black base, but if you want to go with more of the red base, you could go with the BT3 Zubamon versus the Ludamon for the same searchability of revealing the top 5, add a RagnaLoardmon and 1 Digimon with Legend Arms type. Now, there is some decks out there, supposedly one a regional, that ran the probably expensive right now promo card of Zubamon. It's a play cost of 3, evos from black or red for 0. On play, by placing this card under one of your other Digimon in play as its bottom Digivolution card, you reveal the top 3 cards of your deck. Place those cards at the top or bottom of your deck in any order. Then if you have a Digimon with Legend Arms traits in play, gain 2. So essentially this becomes only a 1 cost to do all that. And then your inheritable basically is, while this Digimon has Legend Arms traits or is a black Digimon in play, this Digimon gains Raid. I mean, a lot of your line already can have access to Raid. So personally, I don't see how this plays much of a vital role, except for just being able to give you Raid a little more easier. But personally, I don't think it's necessary. I really don't. I could still do some more playtesting and see, but at the moment, I really just don't think it's necessary. It's nice. It lets you go ahead and set up some stuff that you're trying to get into, and it can give you that raid to do more control-y board things, but not so much help you towards the actual end goal of winning the game. That's just my opinion. If you want, by all means, argue your side of the story in the comments. I would love to hear it, because again, I just don't see it being that vital. But again, you can also, like I said, again, run towards more of the red base and try to run the Zuber Eagermon from BT3, just because that inheritable of if this Digimon is level 7 security type +1 does seem nice. But again, you would have to be very careful about how you evolve. Another option you could run is, of course, the Doramon level 5, same thing, from BT3. I have seen somebody run the starter deck Doramon for evoing, and to have the effect of when this would digivolve into a Legend Arms or Black Digimon, reduce the cost by 1, and then end of turn you may DNA. But that's probably leaning more towards just trying to go with more of the starter deck RagnaLoard type of deck, really. So you could do that. There has been a couple decks out there trying to splash in the starter deck RagnaLoard. And if you can make it work, more power to you. But the new RagnaLoard does not play the gotcha game quite as much. Now, what I have seen for certain in people's decks that they are trying to run is they try and splash in some extra copies of their level 6s of both the Braludamon and Durandamon from the starter deck. They play a little more of a gotcha game, and they can possibly even trigger and get you an extra body on board, maybe. But their effects are going to be slightly different compared to the level 6s that we run. Like Durandamon here does not just straight up stop security effects on everything, just on option cards. But I will say Braludamon is definitely worth the consideration, because its inheritable is, while this Digimon is RagnaLoardmon, it isn't affected by your opponent's Digimon effects. So to each their own, you could go ahead and try and splash in more of them, but for consistency's sake, my version decided to go ahead and just in the end drop the starter decks. But again, like I said, you could still try and run the RagnaLoardmon from the starter deck and see how that works for you. If you can even get more than one level 6 on the board, more power to you. Now, in some of my testing, I did try this, and it didn't work out as well as I would like, but it was still a good card to have. And that is Crimson Blaze. It's a red option card, so you will have to make sure you have something red in play to even activate this. But it's a 6-cost option card. You reduce the cost by 1 for each of the opponent's Digimon in play. Main effect is to delete all your opponent's Digimon with 6,000 DP or less. Then your opponent can't play Digimon by effects until the end of your opponent's next turn. security effect is to activate the main. That seems good because, like I said, I think this deck struggles with decks that go wide. But with that being said, here's another card that I have not tried out yet. But again, this would be something that you could only actually pull off when you have the colors already in play and you know you need to use it. And that is Dark Gaia Force. Yes, it's in a hefty 8 cost, but you will get to choose any number of your opponent's Digimon whose total play cost adds up to 15 or less and delete all the chosen cards. Security effect is the same as the main effect. Delete one of your opponent's Digimon with a play cost of 15 or less. Actually, I guess it is slightly different, so pardon me. But that's a couple of the cards I'm played with, and some of them I have not, that you could also think about and run in this deck. But yes, that has been my deck profile, for the time being anyway, of RagnaLoardmon. So please stay tuned to like, subscribe, and I have more content coming down the way. I have some more battles on recording and trying to get uploaded. I got some more deck profiles that are also in the work. I'm gotten to where instead of just doing a deck profile, I actually want to test it out and play it on DCGO to make sure it actually runs as well as I can get it before I post them now. So now when I post something, just know that I have put it through its paces. But this has been Prodigious, and I will see you next time.